why can I never stay consistent with my workouts? If that's something that you have thought to yourself, I'm going to give you a philosophy around this question to figure out why that is and how to fix it. How to finally stay consistent with working out. There are a lot of tactical, strategical things that we could mention, and I might share one, I might share two, I might not share any today, because I don't want to focus on the tactics or the strategies before focusing on the overall philosophy. Said another way, when we have problems with fitness, when we have problems with our physical abilities, our physical consistency, pain, body dislikes, things that we want to improve, fitness in general, we tend to look at specific strategies, specific things that we should do to fix it first, right? And those specific tactics, those specific to-dos, yes, are the actual actions that we must do, right? Like with anything in fitness, in business, in relationships, it comes down to what you do. But what I've learned over, well over a decade in this world is that when we do not do things consistently that are good for us and that actually meet the person that we want to become, we have to look at our overall philosophy, right? Our attitude, the way that we view the situation before just thinking there are specific things that I'm not doing that I should be doing, right? We have to adjust the way that we think first, right? The overall. So this brings me to a quote that I heard just a couple days ago that is going to address this pretty well. The quote was by Tim Ferriss, who is a uber big podcaster and just a really fascinating person, and I've really liked his stuff for a long time. And he said something on the topic of saying no more, and how the most successful people have built a muscle to be able to say no more often, because in order to be successful at anything, it requires focus for a long time. And in order to focus, you have to be able to say no to things that distract you from what you are trying to achieve, who are you trying to become. And this is relevant to you and to this question and topic, because not staying consistent with working out when we, quote, want to be, right? When it's something that we think we should be doing, we want to be doing, we know that we would feel better about ourselves if we were doing it, but we're not. That essentially comes down to not saying no to enough things, right? Things that distract us. It could be other specific events and circumstances that we say yes to that keep us from the working out. But really, I think it's even more about saying no to a side of ourselves, right? Because when you want to commit to training and you have that opportunity in front of you and you do something else, you say, you know what, I'm too tired, I'm too busy. In order to stay consistent, all it is saying no to that thought. Saying, you know what, I am tired, I am busy, I do have things that I could justify putting first. But I said that I want to be the type of person that stays consistent with training no matter what. In order to do that, you have to say no to the version of you that is speaking and saying, oh, this can wait, I have better things to do. That's a version of saying no. And now let me get to the quote that Tim Ferriss said that I was referring to. I'll paraphrase a little, but he stated that one of the biggest reasons we have difficulty saying no is because we don't have strong enough yeses to defend. I really like the phrasing. We don't have strong enough yeses to defend. And that word defend is key, right? You have to defend that yes, that thing. So if you don't care about being consistent with exercise, right? If you don't want that, if you don't want to be that type of person, whether I think that is going to best serve your life is for another video. But if that's the case, if you can confidently look yourself in the mirror and say, you know what, I really don't care about that. I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be consistent with exercise. I want to put my attention on other things only. Okay, then this isn't for you. But if you're watching me right now and you're thinking exercise matters a lot, my health matters a lot, being not only physically and mentally in shape, but being the type of person that says I can commit to something for my own good and actually stick to it is a big deal. And I am disappointed that I am not doing that, right? And I haven't been able to do that, or I've gone up and down through these different cycles of consistency. If that's you and you're watching this and this is ringing a bell in your mind, then know that once you have a yes, aka a reason for being consistent with training that is so big that you can't help but defend that at all, above all else, above, all reasonable things, you will become consistent with exercise. And the actual exercise strategies, right? There are, of course, things that I teach my clients, things that I have learned on my own, things that I talk to my family about staying consistent that will help. And that's the specifics. Those are the specifics that I will be teaching throughout more videos throughout, my career, is how to get people building that habit and maintaining that habit, and then actually making the most of the training, right? The smartest way to train for them, the way that it's going to work for them. But before any of that, just being consistent, right? Whether it's twice a week or 3 times a week or whatever, making that a real part of your life long term. In order to do that, you have to have other things come up in your mind, right? It could be events that could take over your routine. It could be other people. It could be mainly, and this is honestly what it will be most of the time, your own voice saying, I'm too busy, I'm too tired, I'm not interested, I have something else I need to take care of, I have this or that. That is going to keep talking to you and telling you why you can move your session later in the day to tomorrow, later in the week, to next week, to next month, and all of a sudden you're not training. And then that compounds over a lifetime and creates all sorts of, just really terrible consequences for your health, for your well-being, and for how you live. So to not be in that state, right? To avoid that state, you have to hear these voices, you have to hear these things, and be able to defend the big yes, the big reason that you have for sticking to this as a way of life, right? And be able to say, you know what, I hear these voices, I hear these thoughts, I hear these other people, I see this thing come up that seems urgent, but I'm not going to react. I'm not going to change my entire commitment to myself just because this thing popped up. And I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to train, and then I will do that thing. Or I will adjust, but I will do it, right? And then do it. And it doesn't have to be 100% of the days, nor will it ever be. I certainly don't commit to that perfectly 100% of the time forever. No, nobody does. But that's not what we're arguing here. We're aiming to look back on your years and decades of life and say, did I consistently exercise and train and take care of my body for that time, for the vast majority of that time? And you want to be able to say yes. And if you're looking back at the past decades of your life and you say no, and you think that you've done very little, can't do much about that, but you can going forward. So I want this video to be inspirational. I want it to be useful mainly, and I want you to realize that you have the control right now to hear what I'm saying and think in your own mind, do I care about this enough to defend it and to say yes to it? Not if, but when other things and myself try to get in the way. And if you can do that, it will become a stronger muscle, right? It will become a stronger muscle. And for myself, yes, it takes energy, but it takes very little most of the time. Some days it's a lot harder, some days it's easier, but I have done it so many times where I have had that thing that has tried to keep me from training, and I've said, I'm gonna train, and then I train and I feel like $1 million and never have a regret about it, and I feel incredible. That is giving me so much undeniable proof that it is worth it, and it makes everything in my life better, and then I need to keep defending that yes. So then I keep doing it, and it's much easier. So know that you're not gonna have to make this fight forever. You get stronger and stronger and stronger at it by doing it, but you have to do it, right? You have to make that one active decision to train when you don't think that you should or want to or can, and you do it anyways. And then it happens twice, and then 5 times, and then 10, 25. Before you know it, you've done hundreds of sessions despite not wanting to in the moment. and you're better for it. Hope this helps. We're right around 10 minutes. I'm gonna cut it off there. All right. Hope it's useful. I think it will be if you use it.